Hello everyone, my name is Remi Omotosho. I'm a fashion designer and I run a fashion brand called That's and Talks. That's and Talks is a fashion brand that designs ready-to-wear and bespoke outfits for women of class, if you know what I mean. This topic is about the main two methods of garments construction, at least that we all know in Nigeria today, which is the freehand method of garment construction and the pattern method of garment construction. I've had a lot of people ask me questions, especially when I say I'm a fashion designer and I do majorly pattern drafting method. They ask a whole lot of questions, and so I've come out here today to answer some of these questions and then to shed more light based on my own personal experience having used both methods over a period of time. So first of all, I want to kind of give definition to those two methods: freehand method of garment construction and pattern method of garment construction. So when we say freehand method of garment construction, what we are saying is that if you have your sets of measurements that you have taken from a client as a fashion designer, you are putting those measurements directly on your fabric to cut and sew. You are marking out, as you are looking at the measurements, you are marking out your dimensions, your every markings, and directly on your fabric, and then you cut straight away and get to sew it. Now when we talk about pattern drafting method, in pattern drafting method, you're not just doing that. You first of all have a framework of the measurements you've taken, either measurements that are from your size chart, or maybe a client, a personal measurement that you have taken either for yourself or for your client. So you are putting those sets of measurements on paper to come up with like a skeletal framework upon which everything you'll be designing for that client will be based upon. So now we want to now talk about the difference between the two, why one is probably preferred than the other. Like I said, I'll be talking from my own experience, because over the years I started learning with the freehand method of garment construction, and then I got to a state, maybe because I believe in working with method. I believe in working methodically. I don't believe that you should just do things anyhow. So in my course of studying, doing fashion designing training with freehand, I came to a stage where I'm like, okay, isn't there a way? In fact, interestingly, no one actually told me about pattern method of garment construction. But when I started learning, I felt there should be a better way to doing this thing. Probably because I come from a place where professionalism is very important. It's one of the things I really like to be. I want to be a professional in anything I do. So I started asking questions that those people that do ready to wear, do they also do their garment construction like this, not having anything to work with? And so in my course, that was how I came about pattern method of garment construction. I was like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. So that was my own experience. That was what led me into pattern method of garment construction. So when I started learning about pattern drafting, I realized that, oh, this is a more professional method, and I fell in love with it outrightly. So I decided to just move with the pattern drafting method, and over the years I've relearned, unlearned a lot of things. I've self-learned. I've done a lot of research when it comes to pattern method of garment construction. I'm very, very comfortable using this method. And so the information I want to put out there is to let others see the advantage of pattern drafting over freehand, based on my own experience. I've seen people use freehand method of garment construction and they've worked very fine. They have very nice designs, very wonderful designs. A lot of people are very comfortable with the freehand method of garment construction. It is fine. I'm not here to try to condemn that method, but I'm here to talk about what I have learned, what I have the advantage, what pattern method have done for me, how it has improved my designs, how it has helped me improve my construction process. That's all I'm here to talk about. And so first of all, I'll be talking about some of the questions that I hear people that people have asked me. People ask, for instance, they ask, why do you have to waste a lot of time constructing pattern? Because pattern drafting takes a lot of time. And they ask, why do you have to waste a lot of time when you can actually go into the fabric, put your measurement on it, and boom, you are off. You have your garments cut out, and then you can begin to sew. Now, this is my answer to this. The answer to that is that I would like to explain some of the things that happen in pattern drafting method of garment construction. So when you're talking about pattern drafting method of garment construction, the first thing that you're doing is that you're taking your measurements from your client. And interestingly, when you're using pattern drafting method, the measurements that you have to take is more robust than that of freehand method of garment construction. And so there are a lot of places where you wouldn't have to gamble, you wouldn't have to guess that, okay, if this person is this size, this should be this particular place. There are a lot of measurements that you do that makes your work to come out perfectly. You have more perfect fit, you have more accurate construction when it comes to pattern drafting method of garment construction. So what you're doing is, after collecting your measurements, you are putting those measurements on paper based on some set of instructions that you have to come up with a framework. That framework is what we call basic pattern. So you have a basic set of basic pattern for the upper bodies, for the skirt, and for sleeve. That one is like if you have a person and then you're clothing the person up completely. That's what that set of basic patterns give you. So with that basic pattern, you can do anything, as in anything. Having that basic pattern for anyone, you can do anything with it, or for any size, you can turn it to anything. All you have to do is to just trace it out and then do some alteration, and you have your new design. So when you say it is time consuming, yes and no, in the sense that if you have a new client or you are working on a new size, it could be time consuming. But after you have finished working on it and you have gotten your basics, I'm telling you, if you want to use that basic to design anything, in matter of minutes you are done, and you have every part that you are putting together all at your front. You can actually look at it and know whether it actually represents the style you want to create or not. That is number one. Then number two question that I hear people ask is that if I am constructing pattern for client, does it mean for every client I have to do a construction every time I need to design for them? The answer is, if you have a basic for someone or a particular size, definitely you won't be doing your construction all over again. All you have to do is you have a working pattern already, where you will just remove a part, add another part, and you have your design. I may not be able to explain so much here for us to be able to really understand what I'm really talking about, but I want to believe that I've shed a little light on that area also. Then people ask also, what about fabric wasting? What about wasting paper and all that stuff? I want to tell you, number one, I believe it is better to waste paper than to waste fabric. So if you are using pattern method, in fact, if you are a person that likes to experiment like me, I love to do a lot of experiment when it comes to designing, because I create designs myself a lot. So when I think of something, I want to try it out and see if it actually forms what's in my mind before I put it to fabric. And so if you're someone like me that loves experimenting, that loves to create new things, then pattern method is the best for you, because you can actually use your paper to do anything. You can cut and add to paper. You can slash and spread where you feel you were not able to add enough flair or enough darts or whatever. You can cut. You can, as you are cutting, you are spreading, you are adding paper, you are sellotaping it till you have whatever design you want to have. If you are working directly on fabric, you can't do that. If you have already cut your fabric, there's no way you can slash your fabric and add to it. It's wasted already. So those are some of the advantages that I feel that I've gained using pattern to construct. I can use my paper, cut out whatever, pin it on my dress form, see how it comes out, and then in my mind I know that, okay, so if I use fabric, this is what I will get. Another thing is that if you have constructed, you have designed a dress for a person and the person has worn it, and there are adjustments that need to be made, and you have done those adjustments maybe by pinning it and then sewing, you can actually go back to the pattern you worked with to put those corrections, to add whatever needs to be added, remove whatever needs to be removed from your working pattern, so that next time when you are constructing for that person, you would not make that previous mistake again. You already got the fit of that person, because the fact that you did your measurement does not mean that you will get a perfect fit. No, perfect fit comes over time. When you have fitted the dress on the person, you've seen how it drapes, because even fabric sometimes gives us different results. So if you have done all that, you have put in all your the corrections that needs to be done, you put it on the pattern. The next time you are working for that person, the next time you are designing for that person, you would not have to redo that fitting again. You already got it. So all you need to do is to take your pattern, put it down, trace it out, and turn it into whatever design you want to turn it into. That is the beauty of pattern drafting. If I have a full bodice of a particular person on my hand, I can do anything with it. I can create any style with it. I have my original pattern kept. So anytime I want to work for that person, anytime I want to design for the person, I go to the original pattern, I trace it out based on whether it's skirt or top or dress, trace out the framework, that's the basic pattern, and then I start to work on it. I start to, okay, I'm going to put that here, I'm going to put flare here, I'm going to remove this part, I'm going to put, it's very beautiful working with pattern. So those are the things I have gained working with pattern, and I believe that putting out this information will help a lot of people that have been trying to think of, should I learn pattern, should I not learn pattern. I want to say that as a fashion designer, if you want to compete internationally, if you want to speak where international fashion designers are speaking, I don't want to be laid back or just be a local champion, it is good that you invest in learning pattern drafting. If you have this skill in your hand, you can do anything. You can go for any competition internationally, anything. you'll be able to speak. When they are speaking, there are terms we use in pattern drafting that when you hear it, you know that, okay, this is a professional talking, not just talking local fashion. So that's also one of the advantages of learning by pattern drafting. Also, another good thing about pattern drafting is that, for instance, you want to do a design, you don't know how many yards you'll be needing. If you work with pattern, you can actually place your pattern on your fabric to see how many yards you'll be needing. Even if you are doing 20, 50, 100 of such designs, you can calculate. With pattern drafting, you'll be able to calculate the yardage that you'll be needing, because by the time you place all your pattern pieces when you spread it out, you will know how much fabric you'll be needing to do that particular design, either for a person or for a number of people. So I believe that as fashion designers, we should aspire to be professionals. There are a lot of jobs out there that are professional, and if we would take fashion designing as if we would cause it to advance, especially in Nigeria. I know that in Nigeria, Nigeria has a lot of creative people, especially in the fashion world. So if we want to be talking as professionals and not just as artisans that just learn something, we need to invest as fashion designers in pattern drafting. Also, there are some designs, like I said earlier, I also have done freehand, and I still do, with designs that don't need so much construction, especially all this free to wear. Maybe you want to make boo-boo or just a free flowing dress, you might not need pattern for that. But when we're talking about structured garments, like you want to make a corset, I personally don't think you can actually make a corset without pattern drafting. Even some people that say they don't do pattern, they work on fabric. In your working on fabric, you are constructing pattern. Would you now prefer to be doing that every time for a particular client, or to have a framework that you will use so that every time you need to do something similar to this for this person, you can actually take it and just place it there? Okay, this one is going to have cup. I'm talking in terms of corset now. This other corset will not have cup, so it's easy. The one that has cup, you are cutting out the cup. The one that does not have, you're leaving it out. So it's like you have a framework already that you can actually manipulate to anything, as long as you have the pattern of the person created already. Also, some people ask that, okay, if I am not doing ready to wear, am I not wasting my pattern? Because if I construct a pattern for someone for a particular design, it's not like that person will come back for that design soon. So that one that I've constructed, is it not wasted? Now this is my answer. Like I said, I've worked with pattern a lot, and I've seen that some sizes of some people actually are related. Might not be exact, but they are so related that you can take the size of a particular person with little addition and subtraction, half inch, quarter inch here and there. You are able to adapt it to another person's design, another person's pattern. So for that, I would say that even if you have a client that did a particular design and she's not doing it in the next 2 years, you might have another person that is doing not exactly but something similar. As long as it is similar, you can tweak, you can do some little adjustments, and with that you won't have to be doing things all over again. So eventually you will see that your pattern drafting method saves you a lot of time, because you have reference for whatever construction you are doing. Also, another advantage I have seen is that there are some styles that are very complex, especially if you are someone that creates by yourself, that maybe you are trying out, okay, how will it look, how will it not look when you are doing it, that you could actually forget how you arrive at that point in the process of construction. So if you have, what I do is, if they are in stages, I keep original of each stage, and then when I'm done, I pin everything together. So I can actually say that, okay, after removing that from here, I slashed here, I spread here, I added this to this part. I have everything stapled together. So when I'm doing that same style again or something similar, I will just go back to it, or even for a different size. Yes, people ask that question. Okay, this person that I constructed for is size 10. Now, someone of size 16, am I going to use the same pattern? No. But looking at that, you can actually understand or remember how you arrived at that design for that person, and use the same method for this other person whose size is completely different from the former person you designed for. I wouldn't want to talk too much. I've already said a lot already, but I believe that with all this that I have said, I've been able to convince someone out there that wants to have a better way of being a fashion designer, a better way of doing things. Maybe you are tired of having to, they will come and say, it doesn't fit me. Should be the one you did for me the last time fit me. Why is this one like this? Why is it not as fitted as that one? And you are cracking your brain. Okay, did I add 2 inches or did I remove 2 inches? If you have your pattern, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Just go there. Every information. In fact, you add information even as you fit. You still add more information. Okay, I subtracted this from this. You do that, and you have your pattern. As long as it is well labeled, every information you need is on your pattern, and it will be easier for you to design for your client, to get better fit, to make your client happy. I would say that with all these points that I've made, I think I should put a stop to this here. There's a possibility I do a part 2 if I get prompted, if I have people asking for more of this information. Also, if you have questions you want to ask, you want to clarify, or you even want to learn this pattern making method, I'll leave my number on the screen. You can also get across to me from the comment section of this video on this platform. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I come your way next time for another video. Thank you.